We are getting straight to breaking news right now. We do have video from the bus garage camera in Olmsted Falls, where Dr. Jim Lloyd, the superintendent there, posted this video to X showing what we have learned is a meteor in the sky. You can see it coming down right there before the bright blast. And wow, has this been a talker this morning.
Yeah, an extraordinary morning for sure. And according to the National Weather Service, satellite imagery suggests that a massive boom heard around northeast Ohio this morning was likely caused by a meteor. We were trying to figure it out what that was because we heard it in the newsroom. We all kind of looked at each other. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? It was so shocking, so surprising. We couldn't figure out what it was. And about 10 minutes later, we got those reports from the National Weather Service. And
then what was making it even crazier was how quickly reports came in from all around northeast Ohio of where people were hearing it. Loved ones, you know, in Beechwood, all the way out in Avon. Even some people down in Canton were saying, we heard that boom. What was it? And I think the most shocking part, you know, for me was it almost sounded like or felt like a car had rammed into the station, like it shook things.
Yeah, there's so many questions that we have to ask right now, so we want to bring in a professor from Case Western University, Professor Ralph Harvey. Professor Harvey, thank you so much for joining us here. This is quite an extraordinary morning like we've been talking about. Can you tell us how often does something like this happen?
It happens pretty often. The catch is that, you know, in modern society, we're not all staring at the sky all day. So these kind of events probably happen several times a day or more. And it's only when they happen right over a really heavily populated area that we're going to hear the boom and see things go back in the sky. Most of the time nowadays, it's actually captured by cameras like you showed before, you know, security cameras or doorbell cameras. That's the most common way to see them nowadays.
And is this something that has happened recently, like right over northeast Ohio? Because this is the first time I've ever heard a noise like that.
You know what? There was a fireball similar to this back in January over Lake Erie that most of us never heard anything about. This one's unusual in that the percussion, the breakup of the meteor up in the atmosphere, you know, created that sonic boom. And that's what I heard and everybody else around here seems to have heard. We're all inside hiding from the weather.
I know a lot of people are probably asking this question at home right now. Did this meteor reach the ground? We see it obviously burning up in the atmosphere as it re-entered. Did parts of it hit the ground? Are people going to be out searching the area for parts of the meteor right now?
They should be. It turns out that I have a good colleague at the Johnson Space Center, Dr. Mark Fries, who filters local radar looking for slow-moving falling objects. They call it dark flight modeling for meteors. And he sees a streak of material, looks like it's falling a little bit south of Hinckley, Betsy Kling's favorite spot, a little bit south of where 271 and 71 join. So there's a good likelihood that there are some fragments of this that are falling. And so everybody should go out and look around in their yards and look at the barn roof and see what happened.
It's just incredible, and it's something that kind of once in a lifetime feeling to hear and experience something like this. But with its stretch, I mean, we're talking Avon, Canton, different part, Worcester, other places. Is that stretch that you can hear, is this normal to be heard so far?
It is, because what you're really seeing is not an explosion that's, you know, up in the clouds. It's miles higher than that. We're talking 10 miles high or more, so way above where airplanes fly, right at the top of the atmosphere. So it's visible from a very long distance. The sonic boom will just keep going until it loses energy. So this is something that hit the atmosphere going, you know, 50 times the speed of sound, broke up, caused that fireball. And that boom, when it broke up, you know, travels for hundreds and hundreds of miles. So a lot of people see these and they think, oh, it's just right over my head and it probably fell over there by the Walmart. But no, it's probably, you know, 40, 50 miles away. So even though we saw it very strongly here, I'm at least 40 miles away, and it shook. I thought a tree had hit my house. But the pieces look like they're falling all the way down, you know, near Granger, south of Hinckley. So, yeah, it was a big object that's turned into a whole bunch of little objects and made a lot of noise doing it.
Oh, I got two questions for you real quick. Is there any way to know how big the object actually was coming in based on the sound, based on the videos and everything?
There is a way to do that. I'm not the guy to do that. And you'll see in the news, I'm sure, as the people that do this, they model this all the time. There's obviously a lot of interest, right, in understanding objects falling from space and how big they are and how fast they were moving. That kind of data is going to show up very shortly. NASA monitors that very carefully. The Department of Defense monitors that very carefully. But that data is not in hand right now, and I'm not the math guy, so I can't help you much on that.
Well, you just kind of touched on it. That leads me to my next question. Is this not something that is tracked by the experts, by NASA? Is there any way to have known that this would have been coming our way?
Look, NASA takes very seriously trying to track objects that are a serious threat to hit the Earth and cause damage. What we just saw a little while ago isn't that big. It might scratch the paint on your car or put a hole in a roof somewhere, but we're not talking about major catastrophic damage. And these things are very hard to see. This was not a big object, probably the size, let's say, an engine block.
Wow.
Maybe the size of a car at the most. And it's something that you really wouldn't be able to see until it basically hits the atmosphere and starts to glow.
Wow.
So I wouldn't worry about it. This stuff happens all the time, and there's not a lot of damage happening from it. It's just an exciting reminder that the Earth is flying through space on an image up all the time.
There's a lot happening out there. And Professor Harvey, I've got to ask, I'm getting texts, should I be scared? Should I hunker down? What should I do, from some of my friends? What's just your message to people? You kind of mentioned it there, that we're okay now. But what's your message to anyone wondering, what should I do now? What comes next?
Hey, be happy you had something rare happen that you got to experience. And if you're down there between Medina and Akron and Hinckley and out for a dog walk, keep your eyes open for a rock that looks like it's in the wrong place. You might just have a little piece of the stars in front of you.
Wow. Unbelievable. Professor Harvey, thank you so much for joining us here this morning, helping us break it down and telling us that we are all safe.
Yes.
We heard the loud boom, but thankfully the expert says we are all good to go. So, Professor, thank you so much for being with us.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow, so we, part of history we experienced today.
Yeah, I think we kind of felt that in real time as we were experiencing that with, once we found out that it was a meteor. I mean, this is not something that I have ever heard in my lifetime. People who are older than us, who have been doing this longer than us in the business, said that this is a first for them as well that they've covered. So it's hard to put into words.
Totally. And Dave Chudowski said, I've never heard that noise before, and I've been here for so many years. And then, you hear different rumors, was it an explosion? Was it a possible earthquake? And then we finally saw the reports from the National Weather Service saying, no, reports show it's a meteor.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? How does this happen? And it's just crazy that that's what it was. And a sense of calm came after that, of course.
Yeah.
And knowing that it didn't touch down anywhere.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I was going to say one thing that is nice about it as well is the fact that, we were hearing all these different reports from people all over the place, and we were trying to figure out what that was and could it be an explosion? And then, as reporters, you kind of go through the checklist of, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And we weren't getting any damage reports. We weren't getting any reports from first responders saying that something had happened. So everybody was really asking the same type of question until we got what we just saw on the screen there of that report from NWS Cleveland saying that they had reported that heat signature on radar and that they believed that it was a meteor. And then I think it sort of answered a lot of the questions that we had had.
Yeah, definitely calmed a lot of nerves, that's for sure. And I know, we were getting all these calls in. Also, first responders were getting all these calls in because people were frightened. I mean, when you hear something like that, what's happening? Should I stay inside? Should I go outdoors? But, first responders were then putting out messages on Facebook and to X saying, it's okay, we're getting reports it was a meteor. There's no need for any panic. This is what it was, and it's what the National Weather Service was showing. And they've sent out many reports now confirming that that's what they believe it is. So.
And one of the things I think is so interesting that Professor Harvey was saying there is that this is an object that was no bigger than a car engine or a car at most, and it made that large of a boom and that large of a noise and made that much of a heat signature coming into Earth's entry. And to think what it could have been if it was even if it was even bigger. And I know our Annabelle Childers is going to be working, talking with somebody who experienced that sonic boom, whose windows blew out. So this is not a story that we are pushing off to the side. Now that we know what it is, we're going to continue to follow this throughout the day.
Yeah, we are continuing to get new video in. We do have new video now from Broadview Heights showing more of this meteor coming into Earth's atmosphere. You can see the streak there in the top of your screen. And it happened so fast, so it's just so crazy how loud of a noise and the repercussions we can hear from something so small coming into the Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah, I was trying to do some math ahead of time because we were posting on social media, and I think this is one of the times you're thankful you have social media to answer your questions for something like this. And I'm looking here, you know, we got reports all the way out in Lorain County, all the way out in Ashtabula County, all the way down in Stark County, and the distance between those is roughly 100 miles from east to west and west to east, and then all the way south to Stark County, about 100 miles each way. So if you make that triangle, it's about 100 miles in diameter each way. And everybody from here up on Lake Erie all the way south heard it. Reports down in Dayton, reports down in Pittsburgh. It's hard to believe that something like that makes that large of a boom for everyone to hear. And
also in today's day and age, I mean, we do have cameras like this that we're able to capture the meteor coming on down. But also you have to be careful out there because also in today's day and age, things can be altered. We have AI, we have artificial intelligence, and you never know if you can believe something or not. So just before you do believe something, I suggest you caution yourself and just maybe second guess and you see who's the one posting it. Anything coming, of course, from WKYC here will be double checked and verified that it is definitely legit. So just in today's day and age, you got to be careful. But all of these videos that you are seeing now on your screen have been verified and confirmed. They are real. Again, this one, if you are just joining us here during this cut-in, this is from the Broadview Heights area showing what was confirmed, or reports showing was a meteor that had come on down. National Weather Service posted that. That noise, of course, came just after 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, right around 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Let's recap as well what Professor Harvey was saying, just kind of going through everything with him. He's a professor of planetary physics at Case Western, and thanks to him for hopping on to kind of walk us through step by step what we were experiencing in real time, saying that was no bigger than a car engine or the size of a car coming through the atmosphere. And while the video looks like it was it looks like it's right landing in your backyard, it's 40, 50 miles away, like he was saying, showing us this picture from a radar signature from Hopkins. You can see a little cluster there of those space rocks actually falling back down to Earth, saying that he got that from a friend of his who works at NASA. So it's just, and to go outside and check the street, check your backyard, check your neighbor's yard, check the roof, see if you've got any of those pieces, and hold on to it, because he said again, this is historic. What we experienced today is not something that happens every single day.
Yeah, and if you do have any video at home, your Ring doorbell camera, your dash cam video was able to capture any of these sightings, be sure to send them to us.
Absolutely.
We would love to see them and share them with everyone as well. But that map that you saw there that David was talking about, where you could see some of those rock fragments coming on in, to put that into perspective of where those rocks, maybe you could find them, it was more so towards the Hinckley area. So 71 and 271 in that stretch there, he said you very much so, you can see it now. So that big white blob in the middle, just north of it is 71, to the right there is 271. In that area, he says if you go out searching, you just might be able to find some fragments of this piece of history.
Yeah, and he says too, you know, that if you're sitting at home and you're wondering, oh, how do they know? You know, first off, these are experts who are tracking this using science, and he said these are using tracking slow-moving objects, not tracking birds or anything like that, or drones that could be flying in the sky. These are pieces of falling debris from space. So again, go outside, check the streets, and if you're at home wondering and worrying about what that was, the coast is clear.
No need for panic.
Yeah, and to just appreciate the fact that you heard it on, what is it, March 17th at about 9 a.m.
St. Patrick's Day.
You can tell your kids about it.
All right, so quick recap here. This video on your screen coming in from the Olmsted Falls superintendent. He posted this video from their bus garage there. You can see the meteor coming in. This happened just after 9 o'clock this morning. and we have more video that we wanted to get to us.
Yeah, this is from NWS Pittsburgh. You can see it there. They capture that video of the meteor coming back and re-entering Earth. And then again, this is in Broadview Heights here from a resident who sent their video in. So throughout the day, check your Ring cameras. Be sure to send those videos in to us as we will continue to track this story.
We'll send it on back to programming.